Dennis, my friend. So good to see you. Welcome back. And don't need to do a long introduction, but maybe just for the new audience, just a brief background of who you are and what you're up to.
Thank you, brother, for inviting us on. Amazing time. We're all in this amazing time together. My name again is Dennis Meehan. I'm a steward of a large family, and it's always growing. And I have a lot of focuses, and I was hoping to bring all of these together in a story today. And I think that it's going to be enlightening because everyone is part of this story. And I feel like together we already have done a lot of things that maybe it's time to recognize and acknowledge so that we can move in those same steps in a new direction or even in an enhanced direction, much like, we're all feeling this energy moving so much faster. And it's really beautiful to see that for everyone, really. But at the same time, we've been, all over experiencing major challenges with just about everything, both in the world community and national community, and also, like our very personal home community. So I'm looking forward to getting into this, brother. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And let me thank you. Dennis sent me a little care pack last month. It's just been a pleasure to enjoy the fruits of your hard labor. So thank you. The flower of my heart. Thank you. And in these challenging times, I heard a great quote that I'd love to share with everybody. And that is when you're in your darkest times and you think you've been buried, well, the truth is you've actually been planted. It's time for growth.
That's beautiful, brother.
Right?
That is really, truly beautiful, because that's actually what I've been hoping to talk about for, a couple of weeks now. And even before that, when we had another appointment to have one of these interviews, and my barn, our community center, got sort of torn apart in a storm.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Well, I remember you couldn't make it because the power lines were down.
And
it was pretty much shutting down the world out there for that storm.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, update us. What happened?
Oh, it was just we have these walls that our sons built out back of the barn there, and they were all just laying and destroyed all over the place. And it took a couple of days, but somehow they repair things very, very quickly around here. So we're pretty excited about that.
So was it rain or was it snow or just?
Yeah, rain and wind mostly. We didn't get much snow this winter, but that's okay because the winter was hard enough with the minimal snow that we had. So
tell me, share with us some of the challenges that you guys have been up against.
Well, I think that,
before we go on, Leighton, can you get the dog to stop chewing on the chair your laptop's on? We keep hearing this chewing in the background.
That's this one guy. He's a mess. Oh, sorry. Go on. Go, Chia.
So we're excited about all that we've had going on. It's been really a process of honoring where we are and really recognizing our brothers and sisters, and in the process of recognizing that reflection and the truth that we're co-creating together. Everything is coming into focus in a whole new way. I was just talking to our brother about, there are many who are wobbling out there, and there are many of our brothers and sisters who, as a way of life, sort of, I don't know if I can swear on here, but
yes, go ahead. Feel free to.
Many people shit talk one another, you know, and I feel like we're all sort of taught to do that at a very young age. And that sort of way is programmed into us through public schooling and television and all these different things. And we've all realized, or are all in the process of realizing, that our brothers and sisters choosing this from time to time are just not conscious to the fact that they're planting these seeds for their reality. And as they plant these seeds, that reality, you can see over time, becomes entirely evident. And if you care about someone, you're sharing in a way that's completely compassionate and helping maybe shine a light on the next step, or shine a light on the path, however that works for people. And I feel like all of these metaphors that we've been learning as a family, and in these very personal and also community level, let's call it communion, that choice of being true to one another. It's offered us this ability to see who we are in an energetic way, and something that is much bigger than the physical form. But it's represented in the biology everywhere. It's represented in the soil systems that we've learned so much from you folks on how to create this living ecosystem. Has completely transcended and transformed our entire ecosystem. I'm talking about the soil transformation and the choices that it took to learn the information, put that information into practice, really sort of imbue ourselves and our choices in that. All of it just started coming together, not just with the soil, but with all aspects of our life. And I feel like, we had been getting pieces before we even started this dedication to all life, to soil, to, the atmosphere, to the air, to the water, to everything, to one another. These levels of communication, each of them, if we look at them as a bridge, we can actually empower ourselves way beyond where we were in that old world consciousness, and living from a tree of good and evil, or a consciousness of good and evil, good and bad. But making a very conscious choice with our intention. And this is where things really sort of align. If we are in our power of intention, simply by showing ourselves through assurance and reassurance that our choices and our seeds are creating our reality, I feel like we have transcended who we were in such a fast pace that it's very hard to quantify and very hard to communicate. But what I can say, and what having all of these different relationships with hundreds of people, more than that, so many people all over our country and beyond, we have felt this ability to nurture and nourish from both sides of the bridge, or from all sides of the bridge, in any communication. And in that recognition and acknowledgement of our reflection coming back at us in our truth, right? In our true consciousness. Some would call it a God consciousness. Some would call it Christ or a universal consciousness. And I have found that in our energy and motion, we really become that connection. We become that bridge, not just from our personal receiving and giving to it, transmitting and receiving from and to it, but an intricate part in the building or the adding to of that creation that we're co-creating all over. And today I was hoping to talk about our family's very real dedication today and beyond to not just a dedication, but a declaration to the soil and to the stewardship of life beyond the soil, through our stewardship, brother to brother, sister to sister, brother to sister, all over this planet. We've actually been able to create genetics that are absolutely astonishing, but only when properly nourished. And this is the biggest part of what we found with these choices, this continual choice. And, that was for a long time the prayer. How do I have that continual choice? How do I have that continual representation as a steward of and leader of a community, and one that, builds bridges all over? How do I best do this? These questions, these existential questions I've asked as a prayer within the Creator inside, but also I'm looking for answers from all around. I'm looking for answers in the soil. I'm looking for answers in the water. I'm looking for answers everywhere. I'm looking for this reflection throughout this universal experience. And as I take all of this in and I express this universal expression, there becomes this song of creation. Someone might call it a song of God. For many years now, we've been gifted with this sort of synergy in all things. And we've been, as a family, we're constantly given these gifts and are always hoping to share them back with those that give them. And thank you, brothers and sisters, today for always giving your incredible gifts, because that's how we are who we are, is by honoring the incredible lessons and wisdom that comes from our elders and comes from our children and comes from our collective choice to be true and to be real and to transcend the old world and live here in the new, where we are firmly declaring, like we tried to back when that was all usurped back in the 1700s. And if we look at that closely, we can look at it even with the seeds. There's a seed documentary that very accurately conveys this message. And I like this seed documentary because it spans the country and the world, for that matter. But as brothers and sisters, we've been dedicating our lives throughout time to the stewardship to life, the stewardship to seeds, and the stewardship to Mother Earth, and all of that communication coming into this energy that we have, this sacred intention. And pretty soon it all becomes this awareness that, okay, over here is our divine feminine, divine masculine, our source, our origin, God, a whole bunch of names for this, and they're all amazing. Here we have the center point and breath and pulse of creation, and the image and reflection, and in the knowing, in the recognition and awareness, acknowledgement of our stewardship of life and our possibility within this connection that we bridge here now. We can actually find our seeds over here, thoughts, feelings, most important, actions, and our words are, we're just like in this moment where this chalice is holding energetically from our side, but also energetically in this bridge that we're creating together. And this is what we've been doing all over the world with these seeds. And our family hopes to do this in a very, very powerful way all over the world with these seeds, and with our soil, and with our brother's brew that our sons have created, with the education systems that our daughters are building. This is a multidimensional conversation, and also a multidimensional experience that we're sharing together in this true consciousness. And in this eternal awareness through the eternal seeds that you are planting as the eternal being that you are, all of this recognition through your tree of life is flowing at a rate that now we can actually recognize it much easier, because it's returning almost as quickly as we send it out. And I've drawn up diagrams to explain in great detail, but very simply, all of this energy. And because, all of this creative stuff and the connection to the soil and water and mama and all of it, our brothers and sisters, our love to you and for you, it's all sort of like coming together in such a magical way that I and we as a family are so inspired to go to other farms and help nurture that soil and help nurture their hearts and help nurture their choices. And all of these bridges are being built from both sides, and they are offering this energy as a reflection. And you're damn right, it feels good. It feels good, so good to feel good and to recognize that I can recognize real here, like all around. And sure, there still are challenges in those weaponized consciousness that are still amongst us. But I feel like the answers are right here. And the answers are in the declaration that we made in the 1700s that was stolen from us. 27 grievances. I have way over 2,700 grievances now. Personally, things that have happened in my life. And I feel like that's a reflection in everyone, from everyone. And this stuff is so very simple and basic, but so very incredibly beautiful because it comes from all of our brothers and sisters. Just like these seeds and the stewardship that it took to get them where they are. And I have a story to tell about that. Wow, you're all truly amazing. And when somebody tells you nobody's perfect, we all are, actually. It's just a matter of this bullshit that we had to go through to realize who and what we really are. And in that building of resilience, you are so incredible. You are so quantum in your connection that the energy you're sending from where you are, I feel here in my cells now. And that is truly magic. That's a ringing. That's what I'm talking about. When that is our intention, and it is, we learn this partially from you folks. This is like a personal sort of honor that we're sharing with our brothers and sisters everywhere, and recognizing them and acknowledging them in that dedication it took to just still be here. I mean, really, how strong do you have to be to still be here? Talk about resilient. Oh my word. And to go through what, people of all walks of life go through. The Europeans, there's the farmers over there. That's truly beautiful.
That's crazy.
And we're still Europeans because while we were creating our declaration, they were subversively and subconsciously subduing us in that submission. And it's all over now, that's all done now. And it's really beautiful to be completely aware and alive and in tune with the wholeness of this energy, so that it's reflected in the seeds in a way that you can spend hundreds, thousands of hours documenting in photography with a microscope, so that you can actually share a story of the dedication it took to steward this organism, this species, Canobossum from before Homo sapiens. Denisovans have been found with these seeds. So, there's this incredible dedication and stewardship throughout time to one another through this bridge and through the soil that we are now finally coming to this recognition and awareness that chemicals aren't food, chemicals aren't medicine, chemicals are causing cancer throughout the world. And all of that distortion of the old world consciousness is adding to that. And then the signals coming from all of these different things now that we don't really understand, cellular signals that are interfering with our energy, is distorting who we are as that transmission and reception of that divine and sacred energy. And you know what? We're stronger than that too. And we've shown it all. And that's really incredible. This level of adversity is offering all of us this sacred opportunity to have this reflection in this moment where not only can we see who we are in our dedication, in our declaration, but who we are as a family. And in that recognition, all things, everything is possible. And not only possible, everything is guaranteed, because as you choose it from that true consciousness, it can't be stopped. And as you exemplify it in your being and your choices, that is creating reality in the moment. And it's magnified times at least 10 now. And it's showing up in spades all over the world. And we're hoping today that in our dedication and opportunity to share these seeds all over the world, we want to share these seeds in every country, and in education and building soil systems, living soil systems that we've learned from the very best in the world. Make no mistake about that. The children.
Yeah, right.
The
So
children.
you've touched on so much. I don't even know where to begin, but yeah, me speechless, right? What you
Oh
said
my God,
was-
we got to have Dennis back on a regular basis. We can get you speechless. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank
So,
you.
so do you know what the word abracadabra means?
A little bit.
So what it actually translates back to, so I say it, so it shall happen. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about intention. You're talking about putting out energy and vibration into the creation of something, whether it's a seed, a soil, or a human soul.
Yeah.
That's the power of those types of words. Now, traditionally, they were considered words used by, witch doctors or medicine people. And in reality, that's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to be hey, look, I worked really hard on these herbs and preparing them and blending them in a way that I can pass them on to you to help you with your ailment or your mental attitude, whatever it may be. But that's how they ended it. That's how they put their kiss on it. I mean, Pauline never used the words abracadabra, but she prayed over all of the medicine that she made for her patients. And it wasn't just one medicine. It was blended, obviously, or obviously more focused toward each person, whether she used a lot of THCA or whether she used a lot of CBD or CBG. That was her, she was the medicine woman. She was putting all of these intentions and really trying to help this person by listening to them first, getting into their head and understanding what their needs were. But then she'd put the intention into the medicine and say a prayer over it and send it off. And I think in many ways, that's what you're describing. And you're right. The awareness now, I mean, post-COVID, I have never seen such an awakening in my life. There's so many more people questioning what the fuck is going on? And why are we losing control and the ability to support ourselves and our family and the people that we love? So, what you're doing is just amazing. And so how do you hope to get these seeds out into people's hands?
I'm hoping that they just contact us, and we're accepting whatever it is that they want to contribute to our co-creation, to our community, to our family. But more importantly, we just want to get them to everyone. And we're hoping that our brothers and sisters like you, like all of you, can help us do this, because we've been doing it all along. It's just a matter of doing it with this intention. And the intention for me is very important. It's one of truth, and one that it took a near-death experience to realize, and so much pain, unimaginable pain for so long. But in all of that distortion, I was given the truth, and I forever now, I know not to waste a single second, not to waste a single breath. In those existential questions that I'm now asking, I feel like, or was asking, I feel like they've been answered. I've been looking for a continual connection, one that represents this choice we're talking about, but continually moving forward in life, so that all my moments and my entire reality represents not just mine, but my family's reality represents the truth of this choice. And it becomes the will of creation. It becomes the will of biology. It becomes the will of life and the stewardship of that love. Because that's all we find in the near-death experiences. There's no time for anything but love. There's nothing but real. And when all of the energy of creation is running through you in that place, and there's no bad in it, there's no bullshit there, you come back from that knowing something. And in that knowing, it's like an answer to all questions. But it's only really an answer to one question. But it is the answer to every question, because once you land on this tree, or at the base, or in the seed, or from the fruit, or being present with the love of this sacred nectar of eternal life in our choice, in our will, in our connection back and forth, brother, these things become something of transcendence. These moments that we now share, this here and now that Eckhart Tolle teaches, or we can just go through a long list of spiritual teachers, but there's no real sense, because I feel like as you make your choices, carrying all that wisdom that life has led you to carry, you're actually pouring that out of you in all directions all the time. It's just like an overflowing truth. And that is the intention that is imbued into first the water, and then the soil, and then the sacred living organisms in the soil, all of them. And from that, the entire ecosystem. But as those are all thriving, this sacred plant that we are feeding ourselves, nurturing our families with, all of these plants are literally in front of your eyes, transforming. They're not doing what they did last year. They're not doing what they did the year before. This year, they had such exponential growth. I was like, how do you even quantify this? Like 50 years of generational growth in 1 year. How is that possible? That's not. How does a species go from what it is 2 years ago to what it is, what I'm about to show you? This is, and I've asked experts in the past several years, what am I seeing here? What are all these bridges being built? And I wasn't getting answers. So I started digging deeper and talking to people that have seen these things a little more. And this level of communication isn't just happening between us as brothers and sisters, but it's happening throughout our ecosystem. It's happening where our crows are taking care of our chickens because they're free range. And our ducks, because they're also in our bird and our bunnies and everything, because it's all free. It's all just like they all thrive. What's the sense in caging them in, right? And the crows take care of the other birds. It's remarkable. There's a predator bird comes in and there's this answer for it in the ecosystem, or this challenge comes in. We don't get challenges in our garden. I'm just going to have a theoretical here, but we don't deal with challenges anymore because of these living soil systems. But let's say in the past, when we were growing with amendments, let's say, we would have a challenge come in. And if we had this ecosystem like we have now, it would already have the answers for it. And it would already be situated to offer all of these multi-levels and multi-dimensional solutions to something that all these IMOs might be laughing at in the moment.
No, nobody's laughing, bro. Everyone's hearing you. And I think that you're absolutely right. More and more people are realizing it's the ecosystem that does it and makes it so perfect, makes it so easy. An interesting paper I read recently, finally, science has come out and admitted or agreed that all plants are sentient and that they can even tell what color shirt you're wearing when you're with them. And Brian and I, in the FCP podcast, would talk over and over again about people's attitudes. And if they came in all angry and mad or whatever, negative, that it would affect the plants around them. And so finally, science has truly agreed that in many ways, plants are way more sophisticated than we are. Every one of their cells has the same cell that we have in our eyes and has the same ability to communicate intercellular and to send out messages to the local plants via either roots, mycorrhizae, fungi, or chemotaxis and or vibration.
Wow.
And so, that just goes to show you that, you set your intention when you guys started doing all the work up there in the community barn and around your house and everything else. And now it's taking care of itself. I mean, Dragonfly Earth Medicine, they don't make soil anymore. They go, we don't need to. Everything is here. It took us years to get there, but everything is here and everything takes care of itself now. Yeah. And so now they do more outreach work. And that's the beauty of what you've done is you've built an ecosystem.
Yeah, brother. And I think that, that's where we are as well. We're truly ready to just move out in excitement for life and share this stuff. I want to share. I love that you just said that, because that goes right into the story of what I wanted to talk about. The story of genetics. This is like let me back up here so you can see what I've used for a bulletin board. This is just it's like our fireplace, which is really remarkable, by the way.
Can you pan up a little bit? I think everybody wants to see your railings.
See, what is it?
Pan up so that we can see the railings.
Up your left shoulder, up a little bit. Yeah. The cathedral.
That's actually a mural. That's a mural on the wall back there. But it's a mural of a library in Massachusetts. But all the beams that you see, those are those are part of the building. We love this place. This place is it is one of our temples. It's a very personal temple for us and a very sacred space. And what we're doing here is remarkable. We touched on that a while ago, but I wanted to share this thing because this is really sort of representative of who we are as a family and how we do our agriculture, how we do our life, how we communicate with our brothers, how we communicate, most importantly, internally, and then to one another through our family. But then that gets broadcasted to our plants, to our soil, to our all of the life around us. And our community, they'll all tell you that in a lot of different ways. So we celebrate life in about every way we can think of, but all of that energy is, like you said, now it's magnified, and it's really beautiful to be present with it all. But here, I hope we can actually see some of this, because this is sort of representing us as our intention. And I want to show you the center point here. This is where I have seen visions our heart is. And we have this pulse, we have this energy coming from the top in one direction. From the top, I would say from our origin, from our source. And when it gets to our heart, it slows down and then it goes in the other direction. And I didn't really understand why I'd been given that representation of energy in our vision. And then this is one of my first visions. I thought it was for healing, but then it changed and it was shown to me that it was for everything. It was for intention. And this is sort of like the truth. So all of these things represent, like right here, and it says divine temple, and here it says sacred vessel. These things are about recognition, right? Here's the energy, and here's the motion, here's the pulse and the breath. True consciousness, God, Christ are universal. Divine expression, hearing only, love, true sight, recognition, manifestation, reverence and perfection, divine reflection. Up here is balance, transcend, transform. This is an important one, this personal declaration, the I am. These things are all really important. As they come together, we start to see heaven, we start to see Eden. But over here, as the song of God opens us and is started to like played in our being, and we start to get all of these new levels of awareness and recognition, everything sort of comes into focus in a whole new way, where we're living, the golden rule, not just with our words, but with all of this, with our energy, with our feeling, with our being. And as we move this energy of truth and recognize we are divine masculine and divine feminine, we're starting to look around, we're starting to look inside, and soon our living light is so evident. Our true love overflowing in our life is so evident that everything transforms in our consciousness. And as this divine experience flows through us, we have a new understanding of the fires of creation, the winds and the waters and the soils and the ether. And, we have a new understanding of how our fingertips are in relation to all of our reality and everything, our lips, our visions, our terps, our songs. All of these are like a personal reflection or a divine image, and as we sort of like realize that all of this energy is flowing, through our heart and in the other direction throughout creation, and then back around, and it's renewing us through the renewal of our origin, through our source. And all of that is happening. This is, by the way, a representation of a prototype of a game that we're making for the world to play. And this game is, it's supposed to help us in a very beautiful state of play and joy, help us transcend these old world thought patterns. Okay, so over here, like this, we were asked to have this thing in a community building experience where, hey, how do we move past this BS? Well, burning the victim is a good way to start. And this constant questioning of, am I? Yeah, we can let go of all this shit, right? It's all torture. It's all self-mutilization. It's all asking myself, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Because life has taught me that even as a child, through those traumas, that in most cases we're less than. And I'm sorry to my brothers and sisters for anyone that has experienced this, because I know from personal experience that none of us should be treating any of us this way. And all of us should be recognizing all of us in this truth of energy. But so here, we're questioning all the things. Here, I'm just going to read a couple. Weaponized consciousness, victim, separation, fear, anger, sorrow, disease, but I have it written dis-ease, pain, loss, confusion, lack, being chained, boxed, jailed, enslaved, worthless, fighter, anxious, predator, apex predator, judgment, division, mental illness. It just keeps going and going and going and going. We're so good at that separation. And then down here, it's like questioning me as an individual. Am I a good mother? Am I a good daughter? Am I a good father? Am I a good son, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, elder, child, children, family, love? Am I good to the earth, universal? Am I? You know, all of these questions through all of this programming is doing us absolutely no good. But when we find who we really are, like when we find inside who we really are, all of this magic starts to happen in our lives. And this becomes our truth in a way that it's time to share it as a reflection, as an indigenous memory, as a intrinsic connection, as a knowing, as a seed, and as a feeling. As gratitude envelops everything that we create, we move beyond the old world bullshit. So when we get to the real and we get to a point where we can actually recognize our brothers and sisters and their dedication and their perfection and what it has led to in the evolution of the species of cannabis, which is, by the way, the best connection we've ever found to the human genome.
Well, it's part of us. It's part of us. And by the way, that center picture, that's an exact replication of a magnetic field. So well done. Well done.
That's a good one. I like
Yeah,
that.
It is. It is. And make sure that whatever you're using is plugged in. We don't want to lose you. There's a lot of energy going around between the two of us, the audience, and I just don't want that computer to drain or that phone, whatever it is.
Thanks, brother. I plugged it in.
Good, good. So, you know, that what you just presented would be one of the most amazing workshops or games, like you said. If you could get that out to people who are down, frustrated, lost, like we talked about early, you know, in a dark place and feeling like they're buried instead of like they were planted. That would turn that inside out, upside down, and then they would realize that this was a lesson and not a punishment.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing for people nowadays, unless they have awoken. I'm going to use that word because they stole that from us. These are the tools they need to begin to transcend deeper or higher and higher out of that low vibration. And so the way you laid those two different overlays of what you've been programmed and what you've been trapped into believing, and then to the other side of it where you're saying you are the one. You have all of the abilities to put out intention and ask for anything you want and receive it. And earlier you talked about how, you know, you've been giving a lot. Dude, ever since I met you, you were giving. And now all of a sudden those gifts are coming back way faster than they used to because other people are realizing that success comes through gifts, through sharing, and not through where's mine. It's about me. You know, where's my piece of the action? Or what am I going to get out of this? And that's the negative, man. And that's what the vast majority of humans have been programmed to believe. It's how to divide people, not to bring them together. But the fact that we don't treat each other as equals, that's a huge malfunction in humanity. I mean, for me to treat somebody else differently because of the color of the skin or what they believe is the ultimate sin on humanity. And that what you drew there is a way to make people like Darth Vader come to the realization at the end of his fucking life, oh my God, I was wrong, right? But if you can get to there before you're just about to die, now you're an asset. Now you're something that's going to move that needle, that vibration further along, and infect and help other people to pull themselves out of that mud and realize that they're just planted. They're not buried. So,
Absolutely.
dude, I love what you're doing, man. I fucking love what you're doing. So when do you think that you're going to materialize this intention?
So the game is ready to go. It's all designed. We're just finishing up the artwork, but it's literally ready to go. The beauty of it is it doesn't ever point at a negative. It always really emphasizes the growth and the empowerment that's being experienced. And there's this level of awareness that happens with the growth in the moment that's like, oh damn, I gotta keep playing this thing. Are you kidding me? And the beauty of it is that everyone is always adding to it. And it's designed to be a board game, or to have it as a game, to have a board, dice, and cards, but it will inspire people to get out and get into it, get out and into the world in really easy ways, but in really beautiful ways. So all of that is just really, it's, a simple, a very joyful way to step into these upgrades of consciousness, upgrades of everything, because like as our choices improve and we show ourselves that through just communication with our intention alone, and not even including our seeds of creation, just our intention, just our energy alone is so transformative now that you can be present with somebody and not say a word and they can just receive it all. And that was so hard for people before. I've been able to do that for a long time. It's really remarkable to see somebody's true light, even when they're ill, even when they perceive themselves to be down and out or really stricken down with disease. It's this ability to like see through the conditions and confines of the challenged life and see right directly through that horseshit and into the truth of, you came to live, brother. That much I know. And in your choice of living, you like showed me, oh damn, I can actually celebrate life in a whole new way. It's on. You know what I mean? Like that is what I'm talking about. And that excitement for life just keeps propelling the experience and expansion of the game. So a simple intention, but and a pretty simple concept. And when people are playing it, that's why once you sort of mastered the game, you no longer need the board or the cards or the dice. So that's another beauty of it, and then you're just sharing it with everybody. And then it just becomes a constant game for everyone that everyone wants to play. And there's no judgment anywhere. There's just this beautiful acknowledgement and recognition of who and what is really going on in this realm we all exist in. And over here, these are symbols that represent who we are. But when we're talking about the stewardship of the life representing who we are, that is a reflection that I get all excited about. And when we can actually observe as observers in great detail and great care, who and what we've become together, and in the evolution, personal evolution, community evolution. More importantly, and what I'd like to focus on is this worldly and universal evolution that we are all experiencing in our quantum connection, in our divine birthright that transcends all war. It transcends all homelessness. It transcends all hunger. It transcends all the old world good, bad shit. And it brings into pure focus, divine solution through you, because you carry it, you walk with it. And now, like for a long time now, you gentlemen have been like sharing this love and such a beautiful dedication that even the youngsters have been nurtured to the point where they can then take that nurturing and nourishment and into their ecosystem, empower their families through. And I feel like that's what our sons have done through your sacred wisdom, Leighton, and your connection to all of your brothers and sisters and all the experience that you've had. And this connection right here, this is, it's just this magical bridge that we all need to be like a little more present, where we are opening every now as a gift, as an actual present, like, and moving forward, we realize that with the movement and the energy, the movement of this true energy is the presence. And as we're imbuing that presence from us, in a continual choice, in a continual what showed up as a breath, and that's a major evolution and a major answer to an existential question. I can share that later too. But
how do people get a hold of you, Dennis? Like, if they want seeds or they want the game, what is the best way to contact you?
This is the area that we really struggle with, brother, and probably the area that we need help with is marketing, a support system, like a financial sort of support system, because, it takes a lot to run a community center, brother, like especially one that's like trying to do all the things this is. But so there are things that we're doing from all different angles, and we're still looking for help in all these different areas. For people to get a hold of us, I just say email is the best way, just like, or even Instagram for my children. They run all of the social media stuff. I don't hardly ever get on any kind of technology because I really prefer the face-to-face. The only time I really use technology is to have these sorts of meetings for all different reasons. But, we have a lot of different focuses, which is really beautiful because it's all imbued in the soil and it's all imbued in the plants. And then it comes out. And you said that beautiful thing you were mentioning about the plants communicating cellularly, but also across the plant. And this is part of the story that I wanted to share with the pictures that I sent over, because it took years of dedication with these microscopic shots to come to the realization that the plant was actually communicating through its resin all over the plant.
Oh, I remember some of these pictures.
This one right here is one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever taken, because it shows something that we've been looking an answer for forever. So if you consider the Mesopotamian hieroglyphs on the wall, throughout time we've been looking for an answer to what is the tree of life represented between those hieroglyphs. Do you remember what I'm talking about, brother?
Absolutely.
So what you're looking at here is a trichome tree, and they grow on certain strains. With this dedication and stewardship to the growth of trichomes and hash, and particularly, we as farmers have a great deal of time invested into the observation of this life and all of its forms. So there are many different, as you know, many different size trichomes. We try to breed together strains that imbue all of the different size trichomes together so that we can have this massive level of communication across the plant. Well, this right here is a good visual representation of that tree of life. And and all of these people that study life, all of these archaeologists, everyone, all these scientists, they say that they don't know what that tree is that they're pointing at, but here it is, thousands of years later, and we all steward this life together. And that's remarkable because it's been there in front of us the whole time. And right. I have more pictures of it in the list, but I have much more important things to get to in this story. But this is something that we can declare together as the human plant, and as our intrinsic connection to it that transcends all, foolishness, all law, all bullshit. This tree of peace is in all of its aspects. This mother tree represents spirit in a way that is so pure and so true and so representative of our evolution in its evolution. So that's my hope today, is to show what our farm has been able to produce through its connection across the world. Our farm, through our sons, have connected, just as I did back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My sons have done it in a more recent way, building bridges with genetics of cannabis and other species as well, but with cannabis. And all of these different aspects of the mother plant show us a really beautiful expression of spirit. And, these are just parts of her beautiful expression, but at the same time, it's offering us a very physical mirror, so to speak, for our intention, which is represented in the energy, our dedication to the life, and our love for all life everywhere. And all of these levels of intention are imbued in prayer, are imbued, from this aspect of creator and my sons and daughters aspect and wife, all of our family and community. All of these energies are imbuing, like you said, with that true energy, all of our lands. And it's, the birds receive it, and it's really remarkable when you find just plants popping up everywhere that you didn't even plant. There are so many things happening that I forget about things. Like, I forget that I spent a day high-fiving a bumblebee, or it spent a day high-fiving me on a sunflower. So there are just these magical things that are always happening. And one day we were having a meeting for these community thing, and it might have been the day that I just showed you those I Am Creator thing.
Yep.
A baby turtle walked in the back door of the community center.
Nice.
And that doesn't even make sense.
Well, it does, dude. The ancients believed that this planet was a turtle. The turtle shell represents the life.
Yeah, brother.
Right?
We actually had that for a conversation. We're part of this water tribe, part of a worldwide water network, Clearwater Vision. And the intention there is really beautiful, but that's what we were talking about. And the evolution that's happening with all of these different groups, I feel like are really coming together in a way that it's all sort of imbuing each other. We're all sort of like amplifying one another in a way that is offering us this ability to remember things that are coming with those lessons. And in the like, another one is, ever since I was I'm like 50, or just about. Ever since I was a young kid, there have never been any lightning bugs anymore. But when I was a kid, they were everywhere, like everywhere. Every field, they were just everywhere. Now you can't find them anywhere. But after transforming, after our family and all of that dedication, and it's even expressed in millions of lightning bugs. I mean, you look over our field and the entire thing looks like the night sky is just, there's a mirror, and that mirror is reflective of, like we were saying earlier, the seeds, the words and the thoughts, the thought patterns, man. That's a heavy one. The thought patterns, but when they transform into a more conducive, supportive sort of system, a living system, let's say, much like the one that we all build together in the soil, it transforms this organism and this species in the same way that it's already done for this species and so many other species, I would imagine. One in particular is watermelon, like crazy last year, but we had a wild amount of rain, and it's amazing that we even had a crop last year with, I don't know, close to 10 times as much rain as we've ever had here. And, because of the resilience and beauty of the hugelkultur and of the soil systems, they're just built so well. The horizontal style in particular built so well to withstand all that the ecosystem throws, even the really hard curveballs, even, the wind that rips up barrier fences, like barricade walls, just destroying the damn wall, tearing it and that's after it's been refortified. And then you go up to the Hugelbed and guess what? They're all singing. Every single one of them are like, whoa, what else you got, mama? And it's just beautiful because it's representative of, what's happening in your resilience and in your dedication to this truth that we all share now. And, a family recognition is due here. And it's, this time to honor you all is very important to our family, and we hope to do this in different ways. So hence the game, hence sharing an entire lifetime's dedication to a species, just abroad, in hopes that we also get, like you were saying, we're known and have been known for many, many years now, decade over, for just being that giving. And I think we're finally ready to receive. I think we're finally ready to be true to that aspect, because that's is important, right? It's within that vision over there, that energy and motion. There's this divine helix that goes down the middle of it. It was just part of the vision, so I added it, and the energy moves in every direction within that. But at the same time, it's within each piece of our DNA and where it connects, there's this transmission and reception of energy. And it can be distorted with a whole bunch of shit talk from society and war and famine and disease, dis-ease and loss and lack and sorrow. And it just keeps going, right? Or it can be true, and it can represent what we choose, and it can represent who we really are, and something that we saw from a brother, something that we saw from a sister, something that we learned and had. I still I can't come up with the grace to explain my gratitude to you guys. I mean, I can try, but I can't. You guys are amazing, magnificent, and it goes for all of you, right? World over. And it's about time, damn it, that we all start to really see in the fucking mirror what we're looking at. I know that's a whole lot of talking, and I'm sorry, but
No. This is good, dude. This is good. In the beginning of this podcast, we talk about just grow. And that's what that means, is grow spiritually, grow your intention, grow your gratefulness. And again, with those three things, grow your love. You're raising your vibration, and by default, you're raising the vibration of the people around you, because you're not falling into the negativity. And that story that you talk about, the plant out there in the friggin' hurricane, right? That's I thought of instantly of Forrest Gump, and he's on his shrimp boat out in the hurricane, and the captain's up on top. Come on, give me more. Come on, that's all you got. But that's the beauty and resilience of healthy, natural ecosystems that are growing these plants. They're going to have the ability to just go, yeah, bring it on. So, those are very powerful and genuinely told stories and situations. So, thank you. Thank you for raising the vibration of all who will listen to this. So, I don't know how many are on here today, but there will be others that listen a lot. A lot of people do listen to them after the fact because they can't make the live. And Ken, keep flashing up his Instagram. like every 10 minutes, just so people will be able to find them. And I'm happy to hear the kids are running the Instagram, because it tends to be the way of communication. I mean, I get some business emails, but the vast majority of the emails I get are junk. And so more often than not, I'll get hit up on an Instagram or a messenger platform for people that need things. So, and I'm actually leaning that way myself. I'm gearing up to do a launch of a new product to really help a lot more people. The products that I made in the past were just so labor intensive, and I didn't have scalability when I needed it. I had it, but back then there wasn't a need for it. So I actually gave all of that incredible equipment to a farmer out in the Midwest, in hopes that he would share the ability for that machinery to do scale farms. And so far he's dealing with 500 acres, and he's getting some attention from other people. So in my mind, as I told him when we were out there assembling it, I said, you know what dawned on me, Kyle? I didn't make this for me. I made it for you, and I made it for now. I just made it 10 years too early. So I'm gearing up. I've got a spot at Peach Hill Soils here in Southern California, and I've been boxing up this bio-intensive compost. But it's not just bio-intensive compost. I'm blending in about 15 to 20% worm castings that are made on site, and then adding in fish brew, blending in the fish brew. And it's the results that I've seen have been fantastic. Like every time I scope it, I'm like, yeah, we're here. And that I'll be able to sell a lot more cost effectively and affordably on scale. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I think I'm going to tend to push people toward Instagram, because it's just an easy way to communicate. And, I don't have to worry about going through 1,000 junk emails to find the one that I need, or the one that needs me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's all exciting, man. That's exciting.
Yeah. I've been working on this product for over a year now, probably about a year and a half. It started with formulation. Everything that I'm using is basically is overburden. So it would normally just get piled up or sent off to a landfill or something. So I'm recycling soils of different kinds, and then using them to build this compost. So it feels good too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not incurring costs to get my hands on the material. I'm actually recycling material in a very positive way. Again, putting a lot of love and intention into it, instead of just letting it get piled up and disintegrate back into silt. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's amazing. Really incredible.
Yes.
One of the things that the boys have been working on recently is growing fungus with the cannabis, which has been really remarkable. They've as you know, they're like, I don't know if you've seen pictures lately, but their mycelium is just like off the charts. It doesn't even, I mean, it's almost all mycelium, right? It's kind of crazy digging through that stuff. It's hard to even get through it. But what we're seeing there is this level of communication seemingly in the soil that has helped the plant evolve that same level of communication. So as we're seeing the resin communicate across the plant, I have been trying to figure out, why is it doing this? Why are the trichomes pooling? And when they are pooling and forming larger trichome pools, why are they then wanting to travel across the plant? Why is the plant wanting to communicate from one part of the plant or one part of the flower to maybe a different part of the flower or an entirely different part of the plant? Why is this happening? And why are we?
I can explain it. It's your intentions. It's your boys' intentions. They're putting so much intention and love into it. The mycelium is going crazy. And
Yes.
so we're transporting nutrients at a level that's probably not comprehensible.
Yeah. But there was, I'm asking from the biology of the cannabis species, sort of like, from that perspective, I'm trying to understand what is it trying to do? You know, how is it trying to evolve through this process? And
It's trying to give you. It's trying to give you, dude. Like you just said a minute ago, it's now time to accept. That's
yeah,
the hardest thing for humans is to accept a gift, especially
absolutely.
if they've got pride or an ego that's maybe just a little out of check. We don't want help from anybody. We're here to help others, right? So the
Yes.
hardest thing in the world is to say yes when somebody offers you money or a gift. So that plant is trying to give you back a thank you for all of the love and care and intention that you put into it.
Yeah,
That's
but what we found through all of these thousands and thousands of pictures, and I can't even quantify the hours of time it took to capture the communication across the plant. But eventually, I mean, I'm showing the plant is doing it, not just building one bridge from one place to another, but which it started out that way. It started out with just one bridge from one area to another area. And then it started out with like hundreds of bridges in that same area. There's just like constant communication, bridges everywhere. And okay, so then I'm really sort of at a loss for words. Eventually, I found what it was doing. It's sending all of this resin down the stalk and down the flower and into the seed. And that's what those pictures are showing you. It doesn't just send it, it doesn't just send it to the inside of the calyx. And I have pictures of that, but it's there. But it sends it to either the top or the bottom of the seed. I think it's the bottom of the seed. And it forms a pool at the bottom of the seed, and then it forms a crown at the bottom of the seed. But it covers the entire seed, and as it's covering the seed, it's flaking off the tiger stripes on the seed. It's all photographed. You already have these pictures. What's happening is the entire seed is being encased in this resin, and it's letting go of that of those tiger stripes. But beyond that, I was still asking, that's beautiful. What that's saying is that when that seed opens its husk, or metaphorically, when we open our husk, we're imbued with what we've already set for intention, what we've already set for energy. So, but what's happening is this. So right away, I was aware of that. I was aware that when this baby opens its husk and lets go of its husk, it's going to be nourished from the resin on the outside of that husk in the soil and in the communication from the IMOs to the plant and through the soil, all going to be happening as soon as that seedling opens and drops its husk. And it's going to have that recognition of its mother and its vitality, its strength. Male or female, if it's male, it's being fed to the females. So not in every case, but in most cases. And in all of that communication that's happening, it took me to a new level. So I'm like really trying to observe this at a closer level. I'm trying to make sense at, exactly what's happening here. So I started dissecting the cannabis seed and in different ways. And one time I was able to, or many times I've been able to break it now, because that seems to be the best way to actually show us what's happening inside. But when we break it, it has an umbilical cord where the crown of resin is at the bottom. I think it's the bottom. It might be considered the top of the seed. It has that crown, but it has an umbilical cord underneath that crown. And I've photographed where it lets that resin into the seed, and it goes on both inner shells of the husks, of the two sides of the husk, and so the little baby that's inside there is just sitting there in its mother's resin right here.
Beautiful.
That I want to share, and I've got all of those pictures of all of these genetics, but it's all genetics from all over the world. That's the beauty, from all of the farms, all of the dedication of our ancestors, in some cases us from way back when. Who knows, maybe some of us were there carving that hieroglyph or something that we were talking about earlier, or maybe some of us were there in the Declaration where, we were declaring that we were connected internally, and through that internal connection and reflection image, divine in all aspects of our energy and physical form, we can then move forward in that recognition and awareness, and this like energy and motion, it becomes our reality, but it also imbues our entire ecosystem with it. And if our focus is constantly on, our agriculture and our spirituality and our art, music, and all of these different avenues, it's really incredible how it's even possible. Like the plant is showing us that it can bridge from all of these different parts of the plant and eventually get to a place where all of these trichomes are coming together, and they're forming these
Unique.
communication that are transcending everything. Can you keep going? Can I tell you when to
Yeah,
stop?
I was gonna interrupt you and just say, do you want him to just
Sure.
go through? Okay.
If we go back, that's a funny one. Can we go back to?
So something else I wanted to comment on is that traditionally in cannabis, if your plant goes to seed, you lose trichome production, where you're actually seeing the opposite. So that plant, whatever you bred, is trying to give everything it possibly can back to whoever grows it, which is incredibly unique. I've never seen a genetic like that.
I didn't know that, brother. We've seen drastic improvements on trichome production and resin production with our seeded plants.
No, that shouldn't be, dude. So you're being a god, a universal. You're transcending that energy into a plant that shouldn't be able to do that. Trichome production drops dramatically when the seeds come out. That's why nobody wants seeded cannabis. And I'm not talking about a bag seed or one seed in the bud. I'm talking about seeded cannabis. So, maybe tell us a little bit about how you bred that genetic.
Well, it started many years ago. I've been growing since I was like 14 years old, but I started breeding, I guess, in my late 20s. And I started with, 70 strains, 80 strains, 90 strains. But basically, I was working with people that in the community, in the cannabis community, and back then it was all like secret, there was all sort of, we had to keep everything. That's so funny. What comes to mind is the Boston Tea Party. That's really wild. How does that happen? So I guess wow. So I'm sorry about that. I had to share that. I just lost my way there.
No, it's all right. We're talking about how you bred that plant.
Yeah.
So you started when you were in your 20s, so many years of cross-pollination.
Yeah. We were blessed originally with genetics from a large percentage of the genetics were from Canada and California, but there were genetics from all over the world. These few friends that we had been playing in cannabis genetics for many years, and their focus was to try and get the very best genetics possible. And they had a list of reasons to do it. Part of it was photography. I mean, they sent pictures to High Times and stuff. There was a dedication in all different directions. But anyways, just like it is with all of these farms. But anyways, they wanted to share their genetics with me, and in most cases, they were working with things that were only shared breeder to breeder. But they shared them with me, and by then it was for medical reasons. And I had a really serious spine injury. Cannabis gave me my life back. Really remarkable how it can do that. Shut off the synapse between the cells that send pain message to the brain. So as a focus, I had to focus on very, very strong genetics, which is what led me to this communication and receiving these genetics and focusing on these. But they were like the OG strains, like many of the OG Kush strains. There's so many of them, but I I really I think it's remarkable how like some of them came from Afghanistan and some of them came from Europe and different parts of Europe, and a lot of them came from Canada. All of these different genetics that were sourced not just from New England, not just from this country. In fact, there were some of them were sourced from California and Canada and then shared. But it was like this very intentional sort of sharing all over the world from breeders. And we ended up with some of the best expressions or phenotypes of those just by chance, just by maybe the golden rule, living that way, I guess. But and needing them for medical uses, but we were looking for very strong hashy strains. And then I came to realize that over the years of trying all these different things, I wasn't getting the results for the pain that the science said I could. But I was dealing with very serious neurological damage, very serious spinal damage. I mean, very serious damage. I had surgeries and all the crap. I had been in bed for years. It just really is about as bad as pain can be. I can't say that. I can't say that because however bad I thought it was, it always got worse. So I know that there are people out there, brother, that are much worse off than I ever was. But my dedication to helping everyone and our family's dedication to this entire like world and our healing collectively has been this really, really beautiful thing as it comes through the hash, like you're saying. But it started with like, I'm having trouble even remembering the names, but Chem 91 and I'm having trouble. The original OG strains, a lot of them came from California, but I guess none of that matters. I sort of like lost track of the names because what I'm focused on is this energy, and as it comes through, like my son, he'll keep track of the names even though he doesn't really want to anymore either. There's this awareness that's happened because of our original focus. We were maybe breeding in the beginning 50 strains at a time, and then realized that we should only be creating one strain at a time and then working with all the different varieties of that strain. So all of these different learning lessons came, but when we first started breeding, we didn't keep anything. It was like none of it was working. Even though we were working with some of the best genetics in the world, none of it was working. It wasn't effective for that level of trauma, physical, what have now become not detriments, but bonuses, all that pain, blessings, all that distortion.
So how did you come up with the name for it?
For the herb?
Yeah, for that genetic.
Oh, there are so many. Like we've probably created a few hundred different strains. So we've got different names. One of my favorites is Fire on the Ocean.
Nice.
Because it fills a whole bunch of metaphors and stuff we work with water and there being fire within water and all of that good stuff. It's just a funny one. But so when we realized that these seeds were being completely encased in resin, we realized that we had something that we could literally build a bridge of giving across the world. But we're not just doing it from this farm. We're doing it from the recognition that all farms have been working together throughout this entire history of our dedication to life, of our stewardship of our living soil and of life everywhere, and especially that which feeds us, that which we nourish ourselves through and our families with. And in this like new awareness, I feel like this is here to support us. This evolved. I feel like it's always evolving before we do, and it needs to cellularly if we understand the communication network and highway that's happening internally called the endogenous cannabinoid system, and you all understand all that. So it's it's remarkable that this communication network can be nourished, and as we nourish it, the mother plant, our sacred mother plant, is always teaching us in every way how better to share, how better to communicate, how better to nourish our physical apparatus within and our energy moving outward. And I feel like, some of these, we'll have so many strains to share. I don't really know how many, but I think it's over 50. But they're all covered in resin. All of these plants, all of these genetics have been, even the new ones that they just brought in 2 years ago from all over the world. And once again, large part from California and Canada, but still all over the world. They spent their entire life savings as young men. Instead of going out to buy a tractor, Leighton, or normal things that a farm uses, they wanted that, I don't know what it was within them, but they had that wisdom, to reach out once again and build that bridge of species all over. And it's just been, wow, just like incredible, like so incredible, because all of that stewardship of life from all over the world in different decades, and in between the decades, our family stewardship of it in the whole time, it was like all of the genetics got imbued with all of the genetics. And at first I was a little bit worried, because all years and years and years of work and dedication, and I have all of these thousands of hours of pictures and microscopic work, and there's just so much, right? And you never know when you take a huge leap like this, but that's the beauty of life, is when the easy things, they happen easy. The true things happen easy. And that communication, I think, is happening all across the plant. So this resin is flaking off the tiger stripes here. They're almost completely gone. And what's left is just this encasement of resin. It's like a white luminescent resin, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's luminous, in fact. When you're looking at it like in person, it's entirely luminous, and that is representative of my visions, which is kind of really cool, because the visions came years ago. But all that energy, it was golden in the beginning, and the visions, I mean, and then it transformed into a luminous, like, living color that is imbued with the golden color. But that is representative here.
Can you scratch it off with a fingernail or a razor blade?
Yeah, can we go to some other pictures? I'll show you. Here we go. Here's the top or the bottom of the seed. This is where it all the resin pulls into that. You see how it has like a rib or a rim? Well, all the resin comes over that rib, over that rim, and then fills this. Can we go to the next picture? You can see trichome heads there. Okay, this is a funny one. This looks like looks like me in a canoe on Easy Street, or on the living river of resin just flowing through life. It looks like I might have a mushroom in there in my pocket in there too somewhere, but I just thought that was something we had to share that one. But we can move on. This one is this is last year's evolution that I was showing people. I said, listen, guys, the plant seems to be communicating to the seed, and I wasn't too sure of it. But you could see these fingerprint type things happening that resemble the tiger stripes on past seeds. And then you can see the luminous, the resin that actually goes underneath the fingerprint looking tiger stripes. Now, tiger stripes are imbued with like a multicolor thing when you're looking at it too. It's really, really gorgeous. But those all come off. It's like a complete evolution of the species. If we go to the next slide, it might go to that. And even one more. Okay, so here the seed has the calyx still on it on the outside, and then you can see where the calyx is offering a level of communication to the valley or the bottom of the seed, let's call it. You can move on, but it looks like the shape of a heart. That's really cool. Here, the seed is completely imbued in this resin, and you can see that it's luminous. It's multicolored, rainbow-esque. And it's very representative of my visions, which is, I don't know what to say about that. But anyways, can we go? Yep. Okay, here we go. On the right side is the calyx, and you can see that between the seed, which is on the left, and the calyx, which is on the right, is the veil. This veil, as it's opening and the seed is outgrowing the calyx, that's something we should get to soon too. The seed is outgrowing the calyx. It leaves all of the resin that has been accumulated across this veil all over the seed as well. And I just wanted to show there's barely anything left on it anymore, but we can move on to the next one. This is just a different side of the seed, I'd say. And there it is again, where, it's just continually feeding. I don't know if this is the resin or what, but I think that might be. It's just I've seen it in lots of different pictures, but this one it showed a picture of a heart, so that's the one that I actually shared. It looks a little different than the others.
There's those bridges you were talking about.
There are so many, and here's just a couple, but it's remarkable how once the plant learned that it could do this, it's like, oh man, now it's on. It's almost like it realized that it can go and visit its brothers and sisters, and now it's like going to parties and having a grand old time, going to sessions everywhere and flying all around. And so here's another picture maybe of one of those trichome trees in the middle and the resin on the top where it's meeting. Another one of those trichome trees. If you go to the next, and here's just a jumble of resin where it just starts to come together in a way that it's not really something that we can extrapolate too well, because there's just so much communication happening everywhere that it's like representing the mycelium maybe. And if we keep going, we'll see it grow even more. So as this is happening, as it forms bigger pools or ponds of resin, it will send this energy out in like a stream all over in different directions. And I wasn't aware of why it was happening. I was just questioning constantly. And I'd be questioning the kids. You have any sense of why this is happening? And we would make jokes like, yeah, we better start putting parchment paper underneath the plants and all crazy stuff. Can we keep going? I want to show here is a slight resemblance of a DNA helix. I've actually taken some really good pictures where it shows two of these bridges that wrap together, and I just think it's sort of funny how it looks a little bit like a twisting helix of DNA.
It's like one's building on the other to support it or extend it.
Yeah, when it first started doing it, it was just doing it from one direction. But then when it's almost like the plant realized it could do it, and then it was doing it from both directions and then meeting in the middle. And I have some of those pictures here too. Right here, you can see there's actually a seed under here, but you can see where the resin is just completely caked. And it's hard to even make sense of any of these videos, any of these types of pictures, because there's so much resin and it just looks foreign, right? It looks entirely foreign to me, even though I've looked at a million of these things. Here's a whole bunch of connection.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
So there's a thing called nanotubes or nanowires as a form of communication in biofilm. And then there's also an even smaller form for internally the cell's oreganols to communicate the nucleus as well as with the outside of the cell walls. And that's essentially what they look like, but they're so small, we've never really been able to capture them because you end up destroying the cell when you're using the photography. I forget what it's called, crypto, whatever it is. It blows the cell up, so we can't see it. But here, you're basically showing that phenomenon.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to look into that too. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's just a long bridge that happens all the time. You can go to the next one. Here we go. Here's a bunch, and there's no mistaking this. I mean, there's a level of communication happening and a sentience that is totally showing itself here. Like Mama is, it's just this representation of where we're going as an evolution of our species and as an obvious evolution of its species. So it's just really incredible how all of these things are happening. And I'm just, every time I look at these things, I'm in awe, and I'm just really struck by the beauty of, here's two that have come together from really vast distances, and by that, different parts of the same branch, but still, that's a vast difference, a distance for a trichome.
And then for them to blow up at the end, that's really cool.
Yeah.
When they merged.
And that is representative. What you just said is representative of the chalice that we create together, that energy, that thing that we create right here, right now together, that from your intention of that true energy and my intention of that true energy, we're filling that vessel that we know that we're filling together in a way that, we're all fed from it. And I feel like it's also being represented in these pictures. That might be a reach, but it's just really remarkable how even the colors in these things are representing what's happening in life.
All right, so you want me to hurt your brain?
Yes.
A new paper came out. I haven't finished reading it yet. Basically shows that inside an electron are two magnetic poles that are preventing the electron from exploding. So it's a sun. An electron is a sun. The same fucking thing. But on an atomic scale, not on a macro scale. So what you're saying is exactly the truth. As is above, as is below. Wow. And it's just the different scales. It's all about scale.
And when you consider, brother, that there's, for example, 5.5 feet of DNA receiving and transmitting in every cell, 50 trillion cells, 250 trillion feet of transmitter and receiver just in this physical body, but beyond that, way beyond that in energy. And then what you're talking about cellularly, it's just really remarkable how everything is represented cellularly. Like, it's all there. And that's another image of this fractal. And in that ability to observe the truth that's there, and the truth that's here, and the truth that's in our choice, and our ability to share something so remarkable that it's going to take me a long time to really absorb. So if we're present with what you just said, brother, they're saying 50 trillion atoms in every cell.
And you forgot about water molecules.
Yeah, don't forget the water. There's so much power and memory there.
Yes, yeah. And there's so many. It's like, it's not comprehensible that all of that could be packed into a cell. Just like it's not comprehensible that space is expanding out and beyond. Those are just so radically different ends of the spectrum. We have to stay in the middle where we can kind of, our limited ability for thought can comprehend this shit. But
Absolutely.
they're the same. They're the same fucking thing.
Yeah, fucking mirror. It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting because we need that assurance, and we need that. Yeah, at first it was like a reassurance, or at first an assurance, but now it's like a constant reassurance. And each time that happens, it was important, right? It's really fucking important when everything's wobbling, and you know, our ability to keep the focus and keep the intention, and stay true to who and what we are, and not even pay attention, because in our paying attention, we are sort of acquiescing. And that's really where and why a lot of our taxes are still going to Europe, still going to the Vatican, all those resources from all of these farms and all of these difficult situations. They're directly responsible. And how is it that a people declaring their connection to God, their connection to their truth of who they really are, and no longer wanting to be enslaved in all the things that they needed to, like, send all the resources back, and then dump it all in the river, and then declare it, the first three laws, the Stamp Act and the Sugar Act and the Townsend Act. Give me a break. And that's exactly what we sent for a letter. That's bullshit. We're calling you on it. We're done with the bullshit. But now we're doing it worldwide. And, just saying simply that they're all our children. They're all our brothers. They're all our sisters. They're all our elders. And as we recognize our ability to improve somebody's day by maybe offering a smile, or maybe offering a hands-on education on how to build soil, or how to steward life in a way that resembles who you really are, in a way that we all get beyond that sort of like self-destructive mechanism, because yeah, exactly. And by the way, thanks for those books that you sent over, the Anastasia books. Yeah. People for years have been saying that our family resembled that family, and that stuff blew my mind.
Why do you think I sent them to you? I'm sorry I couldn't find the first three books, but I know you can get them.
Wild. Totally crazy. Now we're members of this Anastasia thing.
Nice.
So it's really beautiful. But yeah, we're just seeing all of the connection being made into like a glob, or a huge resin trichome. And as that happens, it gets to a point where it's ready to communicate. And as it communicates, all of that resin, most of it, is pouring down to the seed and into the inside of the seed and evolving the species. Because while it's waiting, here we go. Here's a good spot where the resin it has already gone underneath the stripes, and it looks like it hasn't quite flaked off the stripes yet, but it's just pooling on there. I mean, and in some of the pictures, it just looks like wet. It's really cool. But if you keep going, we'll see some really cool stuff. Here's the tiger stripes flaking off. So as the resin is like completely encased the seed, I guess it has no longer any use for those stripes, and just like lets go of all of them. And I think the pattern here is really cool, because I discovered a while ago with the family, we do lots of different types of extraction. And if you do a water extraction, you just make some cannabis tea, for example, water being the universal solvent. You just make some cannabis water, and you let that water evaporate. What's left in the Pyrex glass dish is this exact sort of dimpled thing. And then you can do it in different ways. We've actually had trees show up in that resin, and it's just all kinds of really cool stuff. The water is remarkable, like you were saying. This is the resin just completely piling up on the seeds. And once it gets to a point where it's just like, what am I even looking at? There's so much there that that's really all there is. And, so that's when I decided to dissect the seed. Eventually, here you'll see some pictures where you'll see. Oh, here's the crown. This would have been the bottom of the seed, and this is a top view, but you can see where it stands up off. So where there was an indent in the seed and the resin was pouring down into it, now there's this. It sticks up off the seed, a big chunky crown of resin on the top of each seed. So if you keep going, we'll see another. No, this is one of those things flaking off that it no longer needs after it's completely encased in resin. And here's more communication, stem to seed, just like off the charts with the communications everywhere. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it is. It's pouring everywhere. It's almost like there's a rosin press on the plant or something, but it doesn't even get hot enough in Maine for that. But all right, here we go. And here's like the resin is just completely taken over one side of the seed, and on the other side, it's just still in the process of releasing that. And this is, I'm not entirely sure if this is a picture of the broken piece. I think this is a piece of broken seed, but from the outside of the seed. And that one's just still losing its same here. Well, these ones are really important. So for a long time, we've been talking about energy, right? So I've been trying to capture it, and these energies go out way beyond the seed now that these seeds are imbued with this resin. So before, the resin wasn't on the seed, and it didn't do this. Like, I could put whatever light I wanted on there. It wasn't doing anything. But you put a black light on our seeds now, and it doesn't just light up the seed like there's a baby inside, but it lights up the seed like, oh my God, that's a living energy form. Well, it's pink, and it's bright pink. And then on the outside, that purplish, bluish color, that is the luminous, like, living color that it's just like flowing out way beyond the actual physical seed. So, and you can see that the rainbow part does too, the pink at the top and the white at the top there, that's moving beyond the actual seed. It's just emanating out of these seeds, which is just, I don't have words for that, except it's resembling you, brother, all you brothers and sisters. You know, it's been imbued with your intention, with your true consciousness, because it doesn't get anything but true consciousness, right? And here we go. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video showing when a sperm enters the egg in a woman? There's what's called the spark of light, and there really is an explosion of light when the two connect, and that's what you're basically showing, the energy, the aura that seed is producing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just, that's what it reminds me of, is that it's ready to just spark. And I would probably be willing to bet that very well may happen when that seed cracks, that there's a flash.
We've cracked them in the indoor ecosystem, and I call it that because they've just literally brought everything from outside inside, like you taught them. And I don't even have words for it. We planted the seeds, and within a week they were like, Mikey's like, Dad, I've never seen anything like this growth before. He says, you can't even really tell the difference between the females and the males. He says they're all throwing big, huge, massive leaves, and they're all just like, they're all singing in every direction. And he's like, Dad, we haven't even had any plants in these beds for, how long has it been? He was saying months. I can't remember how many months he said, but we just step back into the beds, man, and everything comes alive again. It's and they're indoors, it doesn't make sense. And then they put, they inoculate it with fungus and cover it with hay. Oh my gosh. It was like that mycelium just took that stuff, and it was like, oh, we know what to do with this. Look out.
Yeah. Food.
And we started showing people pictures of that, and they're like, That's not even possible. What you're showing us, that's not possible. And they don't really have words, but I don't have words either. I don't have words. It's all about the biology. Those are the darn words. Those are the words.
I love it.
I love
Okay,
it.
back to the pictures. You're hot and heavy on this beam.
Yeah. So on the left side here, well, it's coming. The energy is moving beyond the seed and on both sides of the seed. So the seed is actually much smaller than the energy that's represented here in this picture, but it's really prominent on the left side and still also very, very prominent on the right. But what's happening is it's already communicating with everything. It's already communicating with the ecosystem, receiving and transmitting, giving and receiving. It's just like I was in awe when I took these pictures. I would like to sell the pictures. I would like to market all this stuff. And can you give me a thing of Brothers Brew so I can show these guys? So the boys started making lots of different things to offer the world, and along with their education and along with their seeds and all of this stuff. Brothers Brew is another one. This energy is just like completely off the chart. That one is too. They're just so far beyond the seed. It's really incredible. And there is a form of photography that I can't remember the name of. I think it starts with a K, that represents the colors that are emanated.
Carillion photography, taking pictures of the energy around a individual plant, etc.
That's it, brother. Thank you so much. That's exactly it. So it's showing this added dimension to me where there's, like you're saying, Leighton, like there's this spark there. This one represents a toroid for me. I see a toroid of energy there. And I think it's cool that it's all blue instead of pink like the others.
Look at that.
It's just, there's so much going on there. Yeah, check the card, Eddie. Here's an exciting one. So I think this is the resin that's like pouring into from the top of the seed into the seed. So this is a seed that has been broken, and it's showing that same resin inside the husk, I think.
Almost kind of looked like the energy was trying to heal itself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Just
really
amazing.
cool.
It just looked like views from space. Oh, jeez. Angel.
It's wild.
We're getting close to the end here. So keep zipping through.
This is important right here. This is what we were talking about how can we tell the difference. So underneath, this is the top layer, or the top of the screen is the resin that has flaked off the tiger stripes. Underneath that is the husk. And then if you keep going, you get another view of it, and keep going, you get, okay, so this is where the resin has been knocked off of the husk entirely. So this is the back side of the resin. And if you see on the right side of the picture, that's right where that little, exactly right there, that's where it went into the seed. That's where the resin fed into the umbilical cord of the seed, and through that crown area. And yeah, if you keep going, that's really beautiful. And here's another picture of the same thing. Yeah, there's another, and another just closer. I love that communication.
That is so cool.
Some of those trichome trees are really beautiful. And sometimes they loop in like a big arch. That's really cool too. Right here, I don't know if you can see the umbilical cord here, but I think that's another one of those pictures where you can see inside the seed. We can go to the next one. All right, this is a good one. You see the husk on the far left of the picture here. You can see no, to the right of that where it's white. Yep, this here is the resin, and to the right of that is the husk, and it looks like exactly like a cell looks, where it has these little microtubules. But on the inside, if you keep going. On the inside, you'll see there's this luminous resin that poured into the inside of the seed. And keep going. Yep, and you can see the microtubules of the husk a little better. And here, you can see them. Keep going. And here's on the outside or on the bottom is the white resin, and then the broken husk above that, and then on the top of the frame is the luminous resin on the inside of the seed. And that's all really profoundly beautiful. On the right side is the resin, and here's the top of the seed, and that's where the crown is filled. And there you go. There's a full crown on the top or the bottom of the seed. It's just completely mounded over, sort of like a mountain, and then it encases the entire seed in the resin. And it resembles here like a fingerprint also, or thatches. It looks prehistoric to me in some way. I don't know. It's beautiful though.
Yeah, beautiful. Sure.
And there's just more communication between the resin and the trichomes. And this here is part of why our agriculture is just booming all the time. I don't know if you've ever heard of, I can see this, Brothers Brew. It's a new product that our sons are making, and it's got lots of IMOs in there, and you just pour that on your garden. It's imbued with all sorts of these energies, and also, what was the name of that other company in Canada that used to make a long time ago? Sonic Bloom. Have you ever heard of Sonic Bloom?
No.
Well, they imbued water with the sound of crickets and the sound of nature. I think it was specifically grasshoppers, actually. And we do a lot of that, but way beyond that. So, and the IMOs are there, and everything they need. And they've been sharing this product everywhere on a mass scale, but also, local family farms, and people's gardens are just literally exploding within a matter of, a week, and then getting into flower and seeing what's happening. And it's just really remarkable how life has this ability to remain in its resilience and remain in its ability to adapt, even offered all of these different situations in our environment, and given that opportunity to see that as a reflection, all of that here in what's happening in the Brothers Brew, but beyond these products that we're creating, just our connections that we're all compassionately like building together.
Do you have a Spotify account?
I don't think so.
You should tell the boys to get a Spotify.
I guess we do. Dennis said we do.
Good. Well, next time we have you on, you've got to bring us that connection too, so that we can pump this up and get the guys, or get your whole family. Yeah, that's a great way to start at Instagram. But if you have a Spotify account, you just click on it, and it shows you all the products and seeds and everything that you have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'll transition the money, and especially because you're not selling flour or concentrates, you don't have banking issues.
Yeah, we're not actually selling, like as far as the seeds, we're not selling anything. We're not selling these seeds. We're giving them across the world. But we are accepting gifts back.
Donations.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Well, we've almost.
That's all the pictures.
We've been almost a full 2 hours already. Boy, did that fly by.
Wow.
Yeah, Dennis, we're gonna definitely need to have you back on. I mean, this is some really good information and inspiration for, the listeners to, hear about both the struggles and the way you're dealing with them and the positivity that you bring to the table. And that game is an amazing idea and concept. And I think that was a beautiful vision. So definitely want to have you back on in like 5 or 6 months. Well, we should probably wait till after harvest, so you're not going crazy. So maybe just after harvest, so like late November, early December.
The beauty of this farming, brother, is that the work was done a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty.
Like you're saying, with it's all sort of. I just get to play now. I used to have to do all this hard work and all this bullshit and all this.
Now the boys do it.
Yeah, exactly. That too. But, the boys would say that I used to be a chemical farmer. And, chemistry doesn't really belong there. So I've learned a lot in a very short time. And the biology is teaching us so much. Here's another one, boys. And I'll send you this. This is brand new.
You got to figure out where to hold it.
Trying to get to the camera so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see that.
It's a tube with something in the middle, or the hole in the middle.
It's a joint.
Oh, wow.
And
So,
you're putting capping it with rosin?
No, it's just got this thing here is a filter.
Oh,
and it's something that we just came up with. Well, we created it a while ago, and then we got reminded by somebody that was doing a filter with bamboo. This one is made from our regenerative cannabis plants. So no longer do we have to source filters from anywhere else because the plant makes them, brothers and sisters. So, it's, we'll offer these around the world, and that'll be great. That'll be fun.
For the Brothers Brew, they can get it through the Instagram accounts that I've been flashing up, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you very, very much.
I've got the puppies staring at me right now because they want to have their walk. But Dennis, thank you so much, brother, for coming on, giving 2 hours of your time and sharing both those beautiful pictures, the stories, as well as your insightful view on the world and how to better it. So, really, really great stuff. And Ken, as always, thank you so much for your time and effort behind the scenes work. And give a little hug for me when you can.
I will do so. And guys, we got Troy Hinkey supposed to be coming on with Andy and I on Wednesday. I'm just waiting for confirmation, but there's going to be another worm episode real soon. But nice. Dennis, I much appreciate you, your entire family. Thank you very much. Guys, with that, I'm going to cut it so Leighton can go run his babies.
Thank you both very, very much for this opportunity to commune and have a really great day. I appreciate it. Love you both.